We have hit 2 p.m. You will be in continuation. We'll move to questions without notice. Senator Wong.
Thank you, Mr President. My question is to the Minister for Defence, Senator Reynolds. Workers at ASC in South Australia have been left to endure 2 Christmases without any certainty from this minister about the future of their jobs after she broke her promise that a decision on the future location of full-cycle docking work would be made by the end of 2019. Why does this minister continue to keep 700 South Australian naval shipbuilders in the dark because of her broken promise? And will she now commit to making a decision this year?
The Minister for Defence, Senator Reynolds.
Well, thank you very much, Mr President, and I thank Senator Wong for this question on this important issue for our nation's security. This government is absolutely committed to keeping Australia and Australians safe. As an island nation, we rely on maritime trade for our security and our prosperity. That means Australia's naval capability is essential to our enduring national interest. The Morrison government is keeping Australia safe with our $183 billion naval shipbuilding plan, which is the largest regeneration of the Navy since World War II. More than 70 vessels will be built right here in Australia using Australian workers.
Senator,
this is creating—
Senator Reynolds, sorry, Senator, I have Senator Wong on a point of order. Senator Wong.
Direct relevance. This relates to this minister's commitment, this government's commitment to make a decision by the end of 2019. Workers have been waiting for 2 Christmases. I am asking about when a decision will be made as to the location of full-cycle docking. It's a very specific question.
I've allowed you to remind the minister of the specific nature of the question, and I call Senator Reynolds to continue.
Well, thank you very much, Mr President. And like so many of these important issues, context is absolutely critical. It is absolutely critical because this government is creating over 15,000 direct jobs in our naval shipbuilding industry. We will make all of these decisions, every single one of them, in relation to the build of more than 70 vessels, the sustainment and maintenance of our current fleet and our future fleet, in the order and at the time they need to be made, which is what this government has done continually. As has been said at estimates and publicly, this is a decision. This is a decision that even if we did make a decision to change, it is still 5 to 6 years away. In the meantime, what is this government doing? We have fixed that valley of death of jobs you created in South Australia. You commissioned not a single Australian-built vessel in our nation. You commissioned not a single one. You didn't progress a future submarine program, and this government has done it. We are creating 15,000 jobs. There is not going to be less jobs in South Australia. There are thousands. There are already thousands more than when you left government.
Senator Wong, a supplementary question.
This minister has also broken her promise that the strategic partnering agreement for the future submarines would be amended by the end of last year to include a 60% spending commitment for local content. Can the minister tell Australian naval shipbuilding workers and businesses why she has broken yet another promise to them?
Senator Reynolds.
Look, thank you very much, Mr President. And can I tell you one thing? I will never, ever, ever, in any of our defence procurement contracts, I will never, ever agree to any terms or conditions that goes against Australia's interest in delivering this capability. I am frustrated and I'm very disappointed that Naval Group have yet been able to finalise this contract with Defence. But it will not be done. It will not be done at the expense of Australian jobs and Australian industry. This capability is far too important for our nation to do such.
Senator Wong, a final supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr President. The Morrison government has also broken its promise to release an update to the naval shipbuilding plan by the end of 2020, which was to include, and I quote, further detail on the critical role of Australia's shipbuilding industry in delivering this plan. Why has this minister broken yet another promise?
Senator Reynolds.
Thank you very much, Mr President. And again, can I reiterate to everybody here and everybody in Australia, every single cent we spend of the taxpayers' money, every single contract we enter into for our naval shipbuilding plan, over $183 billion worth over the next few decades. Every single thing we do is about sovereign capability and about building sovereign defence capability in our nation. You do not have to wait for a piece of paper, Senator Wong, to see this government's commitment.
Order.
15,000 jobs, 70 vessels.
Senator Wong,
that is our commitment.
Senator Reynolds, please. We have Senator Wong on a point of order. Senator Wong.
The point of order is this minister and this government's own commitment to release the update to the naval shipbuilding plan. I'm asking why it hasn't been released by the time she said it would be.
Senator Birmingham on the point of order.
Mr President, Senator Wong has repeated part of her question, but she's also used the opportunity to extrapolate. In any event, Senator Reynolds is clearly being directly relevant to issues that relate to the naval shipbuilding plan, and is the entire nature of the content that she has had in her answer to date.
I'm listening carefully to the minister's answer, but I tend to agree with Senator Birmingham that the minister's answer thus far, while it could be debated after question time as is appropriate, is being directly relevant. She has 26 seconds remaining to answer. Senator Reynolds.
Thank you very much, Mr President. I don't know where the opposition have been hiding, but the past 12 months we have been undertaking, the globe has been undertaking a large health-induced, a pandemic-induced economic crisis. This government is working to continue to deliver our naval shipbuilding plan, and we are.
Senator O'Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr President. My question is to the Minister for Families and Social Services, Senator Ruston. Can the minister advise the Senate on the changes to working age payments announced today and how they will benefit 1.95 million Australians who are currently receiving working age payments?
Minister for Families and Social Services, Senator Ruston.
Thank you very much, Mr President, and I thank Senator O'Sullivan for his question. The pandemic, as we all know, caused a once-in-a-lifetime disruption to our labour market, and we used our comprehensive welfare system to support Australians who found themselves unemployed through the emergency support measures that were put in place last year. Today, we announce that the transition from those temporary measures into a more permanent setting. So we know that the recovery of the Australian economy is now well underway, and so we no longer are relying on those temporary supports which have sustained us over the last 12 months. So on the 31st of March, the coronavirus supplement and associated measures will come to an end, and in its place, in recognition that the Australian economy has changed as a result of the pandemic that has impacted our country over the last 12 months, we are seeking to increase the working age payments base rate permanently by an amount of $50 per fortnight per payment. This is the single largest increase in working age payments or unemployment benefits since 1986. And that is, it'll be a 9.7% increase year on year from April 2020 to April 21. But in addition to increasing the payment rate, we will also be increasing the income-free area to $150. And this means every Australian on working age payments will be able to keep the first $150 that they earn in a fortnight before their payment is reduced by 1 cent. What we're seeking to do here is to get the balance right between supporting people as they look for work, but also making sure that we put the right incentives in place for people to take up work, and we also seek to remove the disincentives that are put in place for people to not take a job. This is a $9 billion investment in working age payments, and it is absolutely essential that we continue to support our working age payment recipients.
Senator O'Sullivan, a supplementary question.
Could the minister update the Senate on how the Morrison government is incentivising unemployed Australians to seek work?
Senator Ruston.
Thank you very much, Mr President. Well, thank you, Senator O'Sullivan. Well, the Morrison government's priority is giving people the support they need to get them into work. That is why we've made the decision today to increase the income-free area to $150 per fortnight. As I said, this means that a recipient can earn $150 without losing a cent of their payment. The income-free area will allow people to work about a day a fortnight at the minimum wage before their payments reduced. During the pandemic, we saw temporary settings, including the income-free area that was increased, actually deliver very, very positive results, with a significant increase in the number of people who were reporting earnings. And we know that people who report earnings are twice as likely to transition off payment than those that don't report any earnings at all. So we will continue support, and we are confident that we will be able, through this measure, to get people off payment and into work, because we know that getting people off welfare is important.
Senator O'Sullivan, a final supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr President. Can the minister advise the Senate what temporary measures will remain in place to continue to support Australians as we recover from the pandemic?
Senator Ruston.
Thank you, Mr President. Well, in addition to the ongoing measures that were announced this morning and the measures that Senator Cash also announced this morning, we are also seeking for this parliament over the coming weeks to agree to the temporary extension of the 1 week, the ordinary waiting period, which is a 1 week period that people normally have to serve before coming on to payment, to make sure that we continue to give direct and immediate access to anybody who's coming on to payments, because we know that localised outbreaks are still potentially a risk to this country. So we know that also that there are likely to be people who are going to have to isolate because they have contracted coronavirus or are caring for somebody and are required to isolate. So we will also be seeking in this place to extend the provision to enable people under those provisions to continue to be able to get access to payment under as long as they meet the existing eligibility criteria. But we know 93% of people have got their jobs back, so we look forward.
Senator Ruston, time for the answers expired. Senator Gallagher.
Thank you, Mr President. My question is to the Minister for Defence, Senator Reynolds. Is the minister aware that when asked if she would release the minister from any privacy concerns and allow her to speak freely, her former staff member, Ms Higgins, replied, and I quote, "Of course"?
The Minister for Defence, Senator Reynolds.
Well, thank you very much, Mr President. And the answer is, of course, I have. But as I've said on many occasions in this chamber, Brittany's story is hers and hers alone to tell publicly. Brittany has said that tomorrow she is speaking with the AFP, and I believed last week and I believe this week, to the bottom of my heart, that these discussions should be had with the AFP. And of course I stand ready, once Ms Higgins has gone to the AFP, to discuss these matters with her further.
Senator Gallagher, a supplementary question.
Is the minister aware that her former staff member, Ms Higgins, has also said, and I quote, "The government has questions to answer for their own conduct"?
Senator Reynolds.
I thank you very much for that question, Mr President, and I thank Senator Gallagher for that question. I think much has been said about this issue publicly and in this place over the last 2 weeks, and there are many issues, arising from that commentary. Some of that is rightly now an issue for the AFP and for Ms Higgins to pursue that with the AFP. As the Prime Minister has said, there will be an inquiry led by the head of Prime Minister and Cabinet into the specifics and the circumstances of this inquiry, and that is absolutely the right place for all of these matters, particularly the procedural matters, to be discussed. I understand that Minister Birmingham, is working with the Labor Party and all parties in this chamber, in this parliament, on a broader inquiry into the cultural reforms and procedural reforms that we all agree need to occur.
Senator Reynolds' time has expired. Senator Gallagher, a final supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr President. Ms Higgins has said in relation to the minister that, and I quote, "I don't think she's ever respected my privacy, so her sudden concern for it now, I find it patently false." Given Ms Higgins has made her wishes well known, will the minister stop using Ms Higgins' privacy to hide from her accountability to this place and answer questions asked of her?
Senator Reynolds.
Look, thank you very much, Mr President, and I respectfully disagree with the senator's assessment of the situation.
Senator, order. I've got Senator Siewert has the call. Senator Siewert.
Thank you, Mr President. Mr President, my question is to the Minister for Social Services, Minister Ruston. Through you—
Order. Sorry, I need to be able to hear Senator Siewert. I did not hear anything. There should be no interjections from my right. or my left. I did not hear anything from my right. Senator Rennick, I was calling the chamber to order. Senator Siewert, please commence again.
Thank you. Mr President, my question is to the Minister for Social Services, Minister Ruston. Through you, Minister, can you live on the new payment of JobSeeker of $44 a day?
The Minister for Families and Social Services, Senator Ruston.
Thank you very much, Mr President, and thank you, Senator Siewert, for your question. I think I've said on a number of times in this place that living without a job would be extremely difficult, and that is why this government has been so incredibly focused on getting the economy to recover so that jobs can be created, so that we have an opportunity to get people who find themselves unemployed, who are on working age payments, back into work. And this morning's announcement were very much around making sure that we have a targeted response, a targeted package of measures to ensure that we are giving people the best opportunity, the best incentives and the best support to be able to get them back into work. So, Senator Siewert, we were very concerned about making sure that we got the balance right in terms of being able to support Australians who find themselves on working age payments. We need to support people while they're looking for work, but we also need to make sure that we are creating the right incentives to encourage them to look for that work, and also to remove the disincentives, which is part of the package of measures that have been announced by Senator Cash, to try and make sure that we don't disincentivise people from working. But most particularly, we need to make sure that our system, our working age payment system, is fair and it's sustainable. Fair and sustainable for the people who need it and the taxpayers who pay for it. So today, what we have done is we have increased the base level of payment, but equally, as Senator Siewert would well know, the Australian working age payment system, our welfare system, is a very comprehensive and targeted system. And so we have a range of different supplements and allowances and supports that are in place that recognise the unique situation and conditions that Australians have, whether it be that they have children and get family tax benefit, whether they are renters and they are able to get access to Commonwealth rental assistance, or whether there are a myriad of other—
Time for the answer has expired. Senator Siewert, a supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr President. Through you, Mr President, does the government acknowledge that 1.5 million Australians on the JobSeeker and Youth Allowance payment will be living in poverty from April?
Senator Ruston.
Thank you very much, Mr President. Well, what I can say to Senator Siewert through you, Mr President, that on the 1st of April, as an ongoing measure, the Commonwealth Government will be putting in place, over the forward estimates, a $9 billion increase in payments to people who find themselves on working age payments. This includes people who are on the JobKeeper payment, the JobSeeker payment, and also those who are on Youth Allowance Other, students, young people, single people with children. There are a number. Every one of the 1.95 million Australians who currently rely on our working age payment system will receive an increase of $50 per fortnight as of the 1st of April. But as I was saying to you in the previous question, Senator Siewert, as you well know, there are a number of other targeted supplements and supports that are available for people that recognise the unique situation that different
Senator
people
Ruston,
find themselves
time for the
in.
answers expired. Senator Siewert, a final supplementary question.
How long does the minister estimate it's going to take the 1.5 million Australians currently condemned by this government to live in poverty to find work, given at the present time the figures that are available, there's only 175,000 job vacancies?
Senator Ruston.
Thank you very much, Mr President, and thank you, Senator Siewert. Well, of course, there are a number of measures in relation to job availability and job vacancies, as Senator Cash would well know, and you only refer to one of them. But what we do know, Mr President, is that the most important thing that a government can do is to make sure the settings in the economy are right so businesses can create jobs. Governments don't in and of themselves create jobs. What we do is we support our businesses in our economy, our big businesses, our small businesses, so that they are encouraged to to employ people. And that is why our hiring credits program is being put in place, because we know young people were more impacted by this pandemic than others. That's why we've got the Job Trainer program in place, because we know some of the jobs that were pre-pandemic may not come back post-pandemic, but we know there is a great need for other jobs, and that's why we are seeking to retrain and to reskill those people that are on payment now so that they can take up the jobs of the future.
Order. Senator McDonald.
My question is to the Minister representing the Minister for Health and Aged Care, Senator Colbeck. Can the Minister update the Senate on the national rollout of the COVID vaccine, particularly into regional Australia?
The Minister representing the Minister for Health and Aged Care, Senator Colbeck.
Thank you, Mr President. Thank you, Senator McDonald, for the question. This week is a historic week for Australia and all Australians, Mr President. The mass vaccine rollout began yesterday in aged care homes and hospital hubs for border, quarantine and frontline health workers. I'm also pleased to be able to report that a second shipment of Pfizer vaccine arrived in Australia overnight. This week, health professionals will deliver vaccines to aged care residents across 240 facilities in 190 towns and regional centres across the country. In your home state, Senator McDonald, aged care residents in regional centres such as Toowoomba, Kearney Spring, Harristown, Glenvale, Bundaberg, Millbank and Kepnock will receive their vaccines. Under the Australian Government's plan for aged care residents, we're on track to be vaccinated by April, Mr President. We encourage all Australians, when your turn comes, to take the opportunity to line up to receive the vaccine, Mr President. That will protect you, will protect your families and the whole country from major cities to rural communities. As the Prime Minister has said, Mr President, we are going to make our Australian way back through this pandemic, and the Australian way has proved to be, when you look around the world, one of the most effective there is. People are relying on us to protect their livelihoods, to protect their lives, to maintain the health of the country, to make sure we roll out this vaccination program, Mr President, and we will do that.
Senator McDonald, a supplementary question.
Can the Minister please outline the expert process our medical professionals are undertaking in this vaccine rollout?
Senator Colbeck.
Thank you, Mr President, and thank you, Senator McDonald.
Order.
We want to give confidence to the Australian people, and we're doing that by showing that these vaccines have been through a full and thorough assessment by our medical regulator, the TGA, and that they are safe. As the Prime Minister demonstrated by being vaccinated on Sunday, Mr President, he's not asking anyone to do anything that he's not prepared to do himself. Mr President, today we saw the Leader of the Opposition vaccinated. He too is demonstrating his confidence in the vaccine. As more Australians receive it, as we've seen around the world, and it is shown to be safe and effective, that will also raise the confidence across the community and encourage more Australians to get vaccinated. Our key message, Mr President, is that it's safe, is that it's effective, it will help protect you, but it will also help protect your loved ones.
Order. Senator Colbeck. Senator McDonald, a final supplementary question.
Can the Minister also update the Senate on the Morrison-McCormack government's plan to record who has and hasn't had the vaccine?
Senator Colbeck.
Thank you, Mr President. I can confirm that the Australian Immunisation Register will be the record for all vaccinations for Australians, and that record will form the basis of the vaccination certificate that all Australians will be able to use, Mr President, including visa holders. Your immunisation history statement, sourced from the Australian Immunisation Register, is available right now. You can access it from the Medicare Express Plus, from MyGov, or call or visit Services Australia and get a paper record. Mr President, doctors, nurses, pharmacists and other health professionals will record vaccines given to you or your child on the Australian Immunisation Register. Once you've had the required doses of a COVID-19 vaccine, a COVID-19 immunisation status will show your immunisation history statement, and that can be used as your proof of
Order.
vaccination.
Senator Colbeck. Senator Ayres.
My question is to the Minister for Defence, Senator Reynolds. Given Ms Higgins has released the minister from any privacy concerns, will the minister now answer the question she was asked yesterday? At any time, did the minister disclose to any other minister that her former staff member, Ms Higgins, had made allegations that she was raped in the minister's office? If yes, which ministers and when?
The Minister for Defence, Senator Reynolds.
Well, thank you very much for that question. And again, as I said yesterday, there are a number of these matters that, after Ms Higgins has gone to the AFP tomorrow, I will discuss with the AFP, and I will also discuss with the various other inquiries. As I've already said, I did not at any time disclose. Mr. President, I'm happy to answer the question.
Order. Order. Order on my left.
As I have affirmed in this place, I did not advise the Prime Minister because it was not my place to do so. I also did not advise Senator Cash at any time because, again, it was not my agency to do so. I had a discussion with the Special Minister of State at the time. To the best of my recollection, it was not about this matter. It was about my second staff member.
Senator Ayres, a supplementary question.
Given Ms Higgins has released the minister from any privacy concerns, will the minister now tell the Senate on what date did the minister first become aware that her chief of staff had sought advice from the Department of Finance about the handling of an alleged sexual assault? On what date did the minister first see the advice, and what action did she take?
Senator Reynolds.
I thank Senator Ayres for that, and Mr. President, through you. My understanding is that my Chief of Staff was provided a report of the access to my office, either by the Department of Finance or by DPS, and my recollection was it was on Wednesday the 27th.
Senator Ayres, a final supplementary question.
Well, I don't think that was the question that I asked. Given Ms Higgins has released the minister from any privacy concerns, will the minister now tell the Senate why, when Ms Higgins was asked if she wanted to go to the police at the meeting with the minister and her chief of staff on the 1st of April 2019, why was she told, and I quote, "We need to know now"?
Senator Reynolds.
Well, look, thank you very much, Senator Ayres, for that. And as I have said repeatedly in this chamber, Ms Higgins' recollections and her story are hers to tell. It is not my place in this chamber to speculate further on that.
Senator Reynolds, I have Senator Ayres on a point of order.
Order is relevance, Mr President. It's not remotely relevant for the minister to explain why she'd prefer not to answer a question.
If the minister is addressing the question and providing reasoning for her answer, and I believe that relates to the terms of the question, I don't believe I can rule that out as not being directly relevant. You've reminded the minister of the question, but I can't instruct a minister how to answer a question. I call the minister to continue.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President. And as I have said a number of times in this chamber over the last 2 weeks, those opposite are asking me questions premised on the assertions of facts. This is not the place, nor is it the time for me to discuss or debate the accuracy of some of the assertions of those opposite. The time for me to do that is with the Australian Federal Police and also the other inquiries underway. I still believe I owe Brittany her agency and her privacy.
Senator Scarr.
Mr President, my question is to the Minister for Employment, Skills, Small and Family Business, Senator Cash. In light of today's announcement of the Morrison government's plan to permanently increase the job seeker rate, how will the government ensure that unemployed Australians remain engaged with the labour market and looking for jobs?
The Minister for Employment, Skills, Small and Family Business, Senator Cash.
Thank you, Mr President, and I thank Senator Carr for the question. And as Senator Carr knows, Australia's economic recovery from COVID-19, Mr President, is well—
Order. Sorry.
whilst I admire Senator Carr immensely, it is Senator Scarr. I'm not sure who would be more insulted, Senator Carr.
Senator Cash, to continue.
Mr. Scarr, it is my great Western Australian accent that I'm so often reminded about in this place. But, Mr. President, at least one can laugh at oneself. Australia's economic recovery is well underway, Mr. President, and in fact the recent ABS jobs data shows that employment increased by over 29,000 jobs last month, and this, Mr. President, included a 59,000 increase in full-time jobs. And this, of course, is a direct result of the Morrison government's economic recovery plan, which has provided unprecedented levels of support to Australian households and businesses. As our economic recovery continues, though, it is important that we provide Australians who've lost their job or alternatively have had their hours reduced with the support they need to get into fulfilling employment. And that is why today we've made a number of announcements in relation to the strengthening of mutual obligation requirements. The Morrison government firmly believes that the best form of welfare is a job, and that is why we will put in place the necessary measures to ensure those that don't have a job at the moment are doing everything that they can to become work-ready, or alternatively, if they are offered suitable employment, they are able to take that suitable employment up. We've made a number of changes, Mr. President, and that includes the number of job searches that a person needs to undertake. We're also establishing an employer reporting line so that people who actively say no to suitable work are able to be followed up by job providers or alternatively the department. We're also allowing people to participate in short training courses, for example, something on the job trainer course. It's all about ensuring that we have the right mechanisms in place so that those people who are on welfare are becoming as job-ready as we can get them to move into work.
Senator Cash. Senator Scarr, a supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr. President. Could the minister update the Senate on why the recovery in the Australian labour market makes it an appropriate time to strengthen mutual obligation requirements for job seekers?
Senator Cash.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Senator Scarr. Mr. President, while the unprecedented events of last year, they obviously required additional flexibility when it came to mutual obligation, and the government worked with job seekers, and as you know, we lifted those mutual obligation requirements as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. But now what we're seeing is the jobs are returning to the economy. Over 800,000 jobs have actually returned. That's about 93% of the jobs lost during COVID-19 have returned to the economy. Hours worked have now recovered by 74.5 million hours since the peak of the pandemic in May. And of course, we've seen job ads reach higher levels than before the pandemic, with SEEK, ANZ and the National Skills Commission continuing to show increases in recruitment activity. And so, Mr. President, when you are of the belief that the best form of welfare is a job, everything you do needs to be focused on ensuring people become as job-ready as possible.
Senator Scarr, a final supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr. President. Following the changes announced today, why should Australians who are returning to the labour market have confidence about their ability to find a job?
Senator Cash.
Well, Mr. President, as I said in answer to Senator Scarr's first question, Australia's economic recovery is well underway, and we only need to look at the recent labour force figures for January 2021, with the recent ABS jobs data showing that employment increased by over 29,000 that month, including a 59,000 increase in full-time jobs. And of course that is, as I said, a direct result of the Morrison government's economic recovery plan, which has, as we know, provided unprecedented levels of support to Australian households, but of course Australian businesses. As I said, we've seen over 800,000 jobs. That's around 93% of the jobs lost during COVID-19 return to the economy. We're also seeing consumer confidence and business confidence and jobs ads grow to levels higher than before COVID-19. The best form of welfare is a job, and we will do everything as a government to get people into jobs, because that's
Senator
where
Cash.
they belong.
Senator Lambie.
Thank you, Mr. President. My question is for the Minister representing the Prime Minister, Mr. Birmingham. I've actually got a favour to ask you, Minister. I've got a friend who's looking for a job. He's a lovely bloke. Everyone agrees with that. You'd like him. Could you tell me whether there's any $400,000 a year taxpayer-funded jobs you're looking to fill with an ex-member of parliament?
The Minister representing the Prime Minister, Senator Birmingham.
Thanks, Mr. President. Well, Mr. President, I thank Senator Lambie for her question. The government indeed fills some jobs, and there have been some distinguished former members of parliament who have filled some jobs over a period of time. From all sides of politics at different times as well, I note. Of course, far more important than the jobs that the Australian government fills are the jobs that are filled by the private sector across Australia, creating sustainable opportunities for Australians, a growing economy. And what we're pleased to have achieved as a government, prior to the pandemic, was a record level of employment across Australia. During our first 6 years in office, we saw employment grow by 1.5 million additional jobs. 1.5 million additional jobs, thanks to strong growth across the private sector, thanks to strong growth in Australian businesses who took on more Australians and created more opportunities. And in doing so, what those Australians enjoyed was, of course, the opportunity of work, the opportunity to provide for their family, the opportunity to plan for the future.
Order.
And the
Senator
benefit
Birmingham,
that provided, Mr. President.
Senator Birmingham, I have Senator Lambie on a point of order. Senator Lambie, point of order.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was just I like to be informed in here, that's wonderful, but I just wanted to know whether there are any $400,000 a year taxpayer-funded jobs that he's looking to fill that may involve being an ex-member of parliament. Yes or no?
I've allowed you to restate your question, Senator Lambie. I'm going to take the minister as being relevant due to the nature of the question, unless you object further and are demanding a very specific answer. Senator Birmingham.
Thanks, Mr. President. So, Mr. President, having addressed those issues at the start of the answer, the point is that through having achieved all of that extra jobs growth across the Australian economy, it created the situation, Mr. President, where the welfare dependency among working-age Australians was at its lowest level ever. At its lowest level ever.
Order.
That we had record numbers of taxpayers across Australia. That we had achieved, indeed, a participation rate at its highest level, and crucially, women's workforce participation at its highest level as well. They are the jobs our government is overwhelmingly focused on delivering for Australians.
I have Senator Lambie on a point of order. Senator Lambie on a point of order.
Thank you. Are they what you're talking about now? Is that taxpayer-funded jobs, or you're just going on the loose, Minister?
Senator Birmingham to continue.
I'm pleased to say the vast majority of the jobs our government has seen created under our watch are in the private sector. Businesses growing across Australia, creating more opportunities for more Australians to get ahead, and that's our focus for the economic recovery
Senator
too.
Birmingham. Senator Lambie, a supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr. President. In the interest of full disclosure, because I'm all about full disclosure up here, there's a few things I should let you know. When he was a member of parliament, he lobbied the immigration minister to get the brother of a political donor an Australian visa to avoid jail time for criminal conspiracy, violent crime, drug importation and extortion. Should I get him to send in his resume, Minister?
Senator Birmingham.
Mr. President, many people send their resumes, but it doesn't change the fact that our government is focused resolutely on job creation opportunities for all Australians. That was our focus prior to the pandemic. Through the pandemic, our focus has been on saving and securing the jobs, the businesses, the opportunities of Australians to keep them safe in a health context and secure in an economic context. And now, as we emerge through the different stages of recovery from the pandemic, we are focused on that job creation agenda again. Job creation overwhelmingly occurring in the Australian private sector. Job creation that is seeing some 93% of those Australians who lost their jobs or reduced to 0 hours around this time last year have now got their work back. Australians who have actually back in employment thanks to the good management that has been provided right across the country of an enormous global challenge from which Australia can hold our head high.
Senator Lambie, a final supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just one more thing, and I'm sure it's only small. My mate took a job as a lobbyist while he was also a member of parliament. He didn't disclose it, but apparently that's okay in here because we have no standards. Also, as a lobbyist, and a member of parliament, he was lobbying his colleagues to oppose his own government legislation because his client was paying him to do it. Do you think that'll be a problem still to put his resume in, Minister?
Senator Birmingham.
Oh, Mr. President, I refrain from the point of order that hypothetical questions are out of order.
No, because it's the truth.
But, Mr. President, the focus remains very clear for our government. The focus remains very clear for our government, as I've said, on continuing to build the economic recovery for Australia. And people can want to be distracted by other issues. Our government will not be distracted. We will continue to focus on delivering the vaccine rollout that Senator Colbeck has spoken of each and every day over the last couple of weeks, the crucial steps in economic recovery that will be underpinned by that vaccine rollout, the most complicated logistical exercise undertaken in Australia's probably peacetime history, according to many of the experts, but we're getting on and doing that in cooperation with the states and territories, in cooperation with health authorities. We're getting on with continuing to support Australian businesses, and all of this is about continuing to focus on the things that really matter, which is keeping Australians safe and secure.
The clock should have about 8 or 10 seconds left. Senator Lambie on a point of order.
With all due respect, Mr. President, the relevance. Can you just answer the question? Just let's get some standards in here for once.
Senator Lambie, I'm going to not rule the minister not being directly relevant due to the nature of the question, and call on him to continue if he wishes. I'll go to Senator Polley then.
Thank you, Mr. President. My question is to the Minister for Defence, Senator Reynolds. When asked yesterday about her meeting with the Assistant Commissioner of the Australian Federal Police, she said, and I quote, "Everything that was done was with the knowledge and with her concurrence." Ms Higgins has said, and I quote, "I had no idea she was meeting with the AFP about my sexual assault." Will the minister now correct the record?
The Minister for Defence, Senator Reynolds.
Look, thank you, Mr. President. I stand by what I said in the chamber yesterday, and just to be very clear, I met on the 1st of April with the AFP, Brittany and my then Chief of Staff. As I've said in this chamber previously, during the course of that meeting, it became apparent to me that the matter was more serious than a security breach to which I had been previously advised. That same day, I organised for Brittany to meet with the AFP, something which I have been advised did occur. By way of follow-up and clarification, I met briefly with the Australian Federal Police on the 4th of April at their request. I commenced the meeting alone, and I was then joined for a brief period by my Chief of Staff.
Senator Polley, a supplementary question.
After misleading the Senate yesterday, the minister had to correct the record and confirm her Chief of Staff had attended her meeting with the AFP Assistant Commissioner. Why did the minister mislead the Senate by saying she had met with the Assistant Commissioner alone?
Senator Reynolds.
Just to be totally clear, and I'll just say again, so that there's no misunderstanding, I did meet with the Australian Federal Police twice. The first one was on the 1st of April with Brittany and my then Chief of Staff. And as I've said, then it's my understanding that Brittany then met with the AFP out of the office and not in my presence. And by the way of follow-up, at their request, I met briefly with the Australian Federal Police, with the Assistant Commissioner, on the 4th of April. I commenced the meeting alone, and then my Chief of Staff joined me at the very end of the meeting.
Senator Polley, a final supplementary question.
The minister failed to disclose her meeting with the Assistant Commissioner of the AFP until the Prime Minister revealed that fact in House question time, misled the Senate by saying she met with the Assistant Commissioner alone, and misled the Senate by saying Ms Higgins was aware of the meeting. When will the minister be honest and her conduct in response to the alleged rape of a staff member in her office?
Senator Reynolds.
Well, Mr. President, I've answered that same question twice, and as I've said, for complete clarity, there were two meetings. And my apologies if that was not clear yesterday, but Again, I've been very clear, and for this chamber's benefit, if you would like me to clarify that a third time, I would happily do so. But I met on the 1st of April with Brittany and my then Chief of Staff. And at part of that meeting, I organised for Brittany, at her request and her agency, to meet separately with the Australian Federal Police. And then on the 4th of April, by way of follow-up, at the request of the AFP, I met with the Assistant Commissioner alone, and then my Chief of Staff joined that meeting, to the best of my recollection, at the end of that meeting.
Senator Mackenzie.
President, my question is to the Minister representing the Minister for Industry, Science, Technology, Senator Seselja. The Liberal and Nationals government has committed $1.5 billion to the modern manufacturing strategy to assist Australian manufacturers across 6 national priority areas to scale up, improve competitiveness and build more resilient supply chains. Food and beverage is included as a national manufacturing priority, supporting our world-leading agricultural industries, and that's fantastic news. But can the Minister advise what the strategy provides for our high-quality, sustainable fibre industries, including forestry, wool and cotton?
The Minister representing the Minister for Industry, Science and Technology, Senator Seselja.
Thank you, and I thank Senator Mackenzie for the question. The first pillar of our strategy is getting the economic conditions right for businesses in all manufacturing sectors to succeed. And that's what we want to see happening, and that includes every area of our agricultural sector, because we understand how vital our farmers, fishers and foresters are to our regions and to our nation. Now, when our manufacturing sector grows and we value add here at home, it provides more opportunity for our agricultural sector. Getting the economic conditions right is the first pillar of our modern manufacturing strategy, and that's what's happening across the board. For example, the extension of the instant asset write-off is seeing manufacturers invest in new equipment, upgrade production lines and bring work home to Australia. Now, the budget also includes a record investment in skills, plans to make energy more affordable and reliable, support to open up trade markets and a fairer, simpler industrial relations framework. Now, these are the building blocks that will assist every sector of manufacturing. And I know the Minister for Industry, Science and Technology met with Wool Producers Australia just last week to discuss the contribution wool growers make to our economy and how our broader manufacturing plan will support them, for example, through improved animal health and stock feed production. Now, the government's strategy is a commitment to play to our strengths. If we're going to turbocharge job creation and effect meaningful change in manufacturing, then we need to focus on our investment in areas where we know we can get the best return. That's why we're focusing on our 6 national manufacturing priorities: resources, technology and critical mineral processing, food and beverage, medical products, recycling and clean energy, defence and space. Our strategy reflects the fact that we're serious about helping our manufacturers achieve the competitiveness, scale and resilience that will make our nation stronger, not just for the recovery from COVID, but for generations to come.
Senator Mackenzie, a supplementary question.
Thank you. Can the Minister outline the opportunities provided by the Manufacturing Modernisation Fund for our food, fibre and beverage industries to plan for their futures and improve their competitiveness and productivity?
Senator Seselja.
Well, yes, I can. I thank Senator Mackenzie for the question. The second round of our Manufacturing Modernisation Fund is targeted at small and medium-sized businesses in our priority areas, including food and beverage. Now, these projects will have a particular focus on new technologies, which will make the businesses more competitive and productive, which in turn will create new jobs. Now, there's been huge interest from businesses in our priority sectors, with over 500 applications received from businesses right across Australia. And the Senator and the Senate will be pleased to know there is a very healthy number from regional areas. Now, these are now being assessed, and the successful businesses will receive support of between $100,000 and $1 million. This is matched funding, where we provide $1 for every $3 that the business does. Now, this government is backing Aussie manufacturers that are prepared to back themselves, which is all part of our plan to create jobs, to grow the economy right across the nation.
Senator Mackenzie, a final supplementary question.
Thank you. Can the minister also outline how the strategy will assist all manufacturing industries under each national priority to strengthen our sovereignty and supply chain resilience, particularly for food and fibre harvesting and processing?
Senator Seselja.
Well, thank you. COVID has demonstrated that we must increase the nation's resilience to supply chain disruption to protect our economy and security into the future. Now, the Liberal National Government is working with industry to identify the goods and services most critical to Australians. That's why part of the modern manufacturing strategy, as part of it, we are investing over $107 million in the Supply Chain Resilience Initiative to help Australia be better prepared for any future shocks. We're looking right across the supply chains, from medical products our doctors and nurses need to the chemicals required for packaging and for our farmers to grow their crops, or indeed the equipment to harvest and process our food. From there, we'll look at a range of solutions, whether that's establishing or scaling up domestic manufacturing, ensuring the capacity to pivot to meet surge demand, or working with other like-minded countries to make sure that Australia is more safe and more secure.
Senator Waters.
Thank you very much, President. My question's to the Minister representing the Prime Minister, Senator Birmingham. I asked you yesterday about whether Brittany Higgins's alleged rapist had ongoing access to this building to meet with ministers and ministerial and departmental staff. I'm still waiting on that reply. If he was issued with a lobbyist pass, a member of Parliament would have had to have attested that he was of good character to grant him unaccompanied access to the building. Without a pass, he would have needed to have been signed in to the building by a pass holder. Did any member of Parliament or ministerial staff member authorise the alleged rapist's access to the building after he left his role in Minister Reynolds' office? And if so, who?
Senator Birmingham.
Thanks, Mr. President. I thank the senator for the question. You did ask those questions yesterday. I have been seeking information in relation to those questions and some related ones that were asked yesterday. I apologise that I haven't provided to the chamber the particulars of those that you have asked yet, which I received just prior to question time, but some of the other matters I'm still securing answers on. In terms of the particulars of the questions that you have asked, I have consulted with the President and the Prime Minister with the Speaker, because access to the building is, as you would appreciate, Senator Waters, managed by the presiding officers, not by the government. In relation to the question of a sponsored pass or lobbyist pass, I'm advised by the President that the individual did not have access to such a pass, and therefore, obviously, nobody had sponsored or acknowledged the facts that you have identified. In relation to overall access to the building in terms of being signed in, the President has advised me that, as you would appreciate from signing people in yourself, they are manual handwritten logs of people who are signed in. Obviously, for pass issues, there is an electronic record, but the singular visitation is a manual log that is kept across the building. That would obviously be a very resource-intensive effort for DPS security to go back over those manual logs and try to ascertain the names of any individuals who had entered the building. Of course, there are also public areas of the building, Senator Waters, for which people are free to come and go and for which no record is kept. So I'm unable to say categorically that he never re-entered the building, but I can say categorically that he was not issued with a sponsored pass or gained sponsored access in any knowledge to the building subsequent to his termination.
Senator Waters, a supplementary question.
Thanks, President. Minister, what exactly has Mr Gaetjens been tasked with investigating? Is it the information available to and the actions taken by the Prime Minister and his office only, or is it the broader mishandling of Brittany Higgins's rape allegations?
Senator Birmingham.
Thanks, Mr. President. Well, the broader issues that are being addressed will be addressed by the independent multi-party review process that I have described in this place, and for which I am undertaking consultations with all parties and with staff from different parties and other experts in the field to ensure that we establish a terms of reference and a review process in which everyone can have confidence. The work that Mr Gaetjens is doing is in specific relation to the handling of the particular incident.
Senator Waters, a final supplementary question.
Thanks, President. I asked yesterday whether Mr Gaetjens' report would be made public and didn't get a response. Can you confirm whether it will be made public and whether there's any truth to the suggestion that it will be released this week and is thus the ultimate tick and flick exercise?
Senator Birmingham.
Thanks, Mr President. I understand the Prime Minister has advised that he has not made decisions in relation to the public release of information there, which obviously may have implications for the police investigation that may ensue following the meetings that we understand to be occurring tomorrow afternoon.
Senator Wong.
Thank you, Mr President. My question is to the Minister for Defence and it relates to some answers given in question time today. In an earlier answer today, the Minister indicated to the Senate for the first time that in fact she met with the AFP twice, first on the 1st of April and the second meeting on the 4th of April. In relation to the meeting of the 1st of April, the Minister asserted twice in question time today that that was a meeting in which she commenced alone with the AFP, but then the meeting included both her Chief of Staff and Ms Higgins. Does the Minister stand by that answer?
The Minister for Defence, Senator Reynolds.
Thank you very much, Mr President. And what I will do is I will take that question on notice and I'll come— Mr President, I will check what I said yesterday and what I said today against my recollections, and I will come back at the first opportunity, Mr President, to clarify.
Senator Wong, a supplementary question.
I'm advised that Ms Higgins says she never attended a meeting with the AFP with the Minister. Can I ask, therefore, why the Minister made that assertion on at least 2 occasions to the Senate today?
Senator Reynolds.
Thank you very much, Mr President. As I've said, I will go back and check what I said yesterday, check what I've said today, and I will come back to the chamber in the first opportunity. Mr President, I am recalling and making sure that I'm recalling to the best of my recollections about the circumstances 2 years ago. So I will go back and I've checked what I've said and I'll get back to the chamber.
Senator Wong, final supplementary.
Minister, I again give you the opportunity. You gave this answer some 10 minutes ago. Do you stand by the answer you gave in question time today that you attended not 1 but 2 meetings with the AFP, the first of which included Ms Higgins?
Senator Reynolds.
Mr President, look, as I've said, I will go back and I will check my records of my recollections, and I'll get back to the— given the importance and the seriousness of the question, I will get back and come back to the chamber at the first possible opportunity to answer that question.
Order. Senator Bragg.
Thank you, Mr President. My question is for the Minister for Superannuation, Financial Services and the Digital Economy, Senator Hume. Can the Minister update the Senate on what the Morrison government is doing to increase Australian research capacity by leveraging supercomputing power?
Minister for Superannuation, Financial Services and the Digital Economy, Senator Hume.
Thank you very much, Mr President, and I thank Senator Bragg a lot for this question. In fact, I'm extraordinarily grateful for this question because only just this morning, I had the pleasure of visiting the National Computational Infrastructure Facility at the ANU, and I met somebody called Gaddy, or something called Gaddy. Gaddy is in fact the most powerful supercomputer in the Southern Hemisphere, and in fact the 27th most powerful supercomputer in the world. The Morrison government is very proud to have supported this remarkable technology, with $70 million allocated in 2019, Senator Carr, to get this supercomputer up and running, supporting jobs in the Australian research and technology industry. And it's right here in Canberra on the ANU campus. I met with Associate Director Alan Higgins, Professor Sean Smith and Vice-Chancellor Brian Schmidt, who told me that it's already been put to work by a large community of researchers from the likes of CSIRO, the Bureau of Meteorology, from Geoscience Australia and, of course, from ANU itself. Now, Mr President, you may not know this, but Gaddy actually means to search for. in the language of the Ngunnawal people, and that's exactly what GADI does. It allows researchers to process extraordinary amounts of data in search of answers to some of our most challenging questions. For example, it's been leveraged to build complex genomic data set for studies into cancer, into diabetes, into lupus and into heart disease. And in fact, ANU astronomers are using their time with GADI to better understand how stars form. A team of chemists have been incorporating the supercomputer into its search for a COVID-19 treatment. Both CSIRO and Geoscience Australia will also use the supercomputer to improve their own systems aimed at predicting extreme weather patterns, including fires, earthquakes, tsunamis and cyclones.
Senator Bragg, a supplementary question.
Thank you very much. Can the minister outline what the government is doing to support world-leading research in complex, data-intensive projects right here on Australian soil?
Senator Hume.
Thank you, Mr President. It's hard to overstate just the extraordinary utility of a facility like GADI. It has 155,000 processor cores. It can transfer data at 200 gigabits per second within the supercomputer itself. Now, trust me, I know there's a few people in this room that aren't tech heads, but that is incredibly fast. How fast, I hear you ask? A 4K film can be downloaded in well under a second. I heard you ask how fast. In 2019-20, GADI supported over 1,125 research projects, with over 6,000 users across Australia allocating 756 million hours of computing time. Mr President, that is an extraordinary amount of number crunching to support world-leading and potentially life-changing research right here in Australia.
Senator Bragg, a final supplementary question.
Thank you very much. Can the minister explain what the GADI supercomputer is researching that will benefit Australians now and into the future?
Order, Senator Ayres. Senator Hume.
Thank you, Mr President. Well, as Lucy Guest at the NCI told me today, pick a field of science and that's where you'll find a benefit. For example, the NCI's partnership with the Bureau of Meteorology enables increasingly accurate weather predictions, knowing where and how rain will fall, where frost will set in, enables our agricultural sector.
Order on my left. I can't quite hear the minister.
Enables our agricultural sector and our farmers to make far better choices, to optimise yield, to minimise cost and minimise waste. I understand that Senator Watt believes that supercomputing is something that involves wearing your underpants on the outside and watching funny cat videos, but that's not what we're doing here. In fact, GADI is helping build more accurate models of fire movement, helping to predict bushfire behaviour and save lives and save livelihoods. With researchers leveraging GADI to help the model of the next generation personalised genomic medicine, Australians are indeed, people around the world can look forward to improved treatments for rare diseases like cancers
Senator
and
Hume,
more.
time for the answer has expired. Senator Birmingham.
Thanks, Mr President. I thank Senator Hume for giving Senator Watt the sort of fashion sense of former Senator Conroy in her answer there, and ask that further questions be placed on notice.